The FIA Formula 3 World Championship kicks into gear here at the wonderful Emilia-Romagna circuit. Welcome to qualifying ahead of today's action. And the tension's building around here at the Autodromo Enzo and Dino Ferrari circuit as well after a fascinating practice session this morning. Everyone is now hunkered back down. Track temperature 31.1 degrees, air temperature 19.5. Alongside me in the commentary box is Tom Canton. Tom, here we go again then. This should be another classic.
It should be. 30 drivers gearing up to take the first ever Aramco pole position trophy by the end of today. Rafa Kamara, who has set the pace in the practice session, is aiming to be that driver and gain 2 championship points to go with it, which will do his championship no harm whatsoever. Brando Badoa, yes, I have got the name right from my mishap earlier in the practice session. One of the home heroes this weekend, part of the McLaren setup as well, as was racing for the Prema team, who go into this round just 2 points on the board. The team have won 5 of the 6 teams championships in this series. They really need to step up this weekend at their home track.
It's been one of those weekends really in the FIA Formula 3 Championship. All action, all tails, and everybody looking forward to what hopefully is going to be a great time. The green light goes on, the session is underway, and now we're going to find out who's hot and who's not coming into this one. I really don't have a clue what we're going to see here, Tom. There's so much on the line, and I think that's the great thing about Formula 3. Anything can happen in the next 30 minutes.
Anything can happen very much. There's a long pit lane here for the teams and drivers, and they're just heading out on circuit. They will need a couple of laps to get the tyres, the Pirelli rubber, into the optimal window before they start pushing. But maybe 19 corners, but a lot of them are kinks around here. So there are not a lot of places where you need to get the tyres into the optimal window, as well as brakes, although brakes are a necessity here around this Imola circuit when you need them at places like Tamburello or Tosa, Acrominerali, Variante Alta and Rivazzi. You do need the brakes a lot around here. So generating the amount of brake temperature is going to be paramount to gain a good lap, because what we've seen from the support series over the course of today is a lot of lockups into Tamburello. They've seen drivers just go skating through the gravel trap before rejoining. It wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot of that during the course of the next half an hour.
Okay, so we're going to get ready then. Let's check in with the world feed as we wait for the best lap times to come through so we can set up a couple of new graphics for you.
In Formula 3 for the sprint race tomorrow, the lowest scoring sprint race where 10 points go to the winner, and then they start as they qualify for the feature race on Grand Prix Sunday, where we take the points system from Formula 1, 25 going to the winner. And already, Piers, we have a fight for track position going on up towards Variante Alta.
Jostling for position is something we see often at tight circuits, and especially here at Imola. The drivers trying to, one, not get a tow or give a tow to a driver behind that could then leapfrog them on the grid. Also potentially try and get a tow themselves, or trying to vie for some clear air. But it looks like a lot of these drivers are going for the I want to tow down towards turn number 1. What do we mean by a tow? A tow is just getting right behind the car in front so that you've got less air to push out of the way. It gives you a lot more top speed. It's effectively free lap time in a straight line, but then on the flip side of that, if you're following a car closely through the middle sector and through the corners, you end up with less downforce. So it's a balance that these drivers will be trying to find. This won't be their first flying lap. It'll take 2 or 3 laps for these F3 cars to get their Pirelli tyres up to operating temperature, optimum operating temperature.
One thing we have seen to this circuit as well, some quite slight modifications, haven't we, in terms of runoff areas, just in terms of movement to the white lines.
Yeah, last year we saw a number of drivers getting pinged for track limit violations throughout practice qualifying and the races. But the white lines have been moved closer to the gravel, such that basically you can't go beyond track limits without actually dripping a wheel off of the racing surface and into a gravel trap or onto the grass. So that will now self-police, which I think is a good addition. It means that we can get these drivers pushing to the limit without having to worry about lap times being deleted, because going 2 wheels on the gravel, it's unlikely you're going to go very fast.
And they'll have to be careful going through the final sector into Ravazza as well. It's quite clear in the race director's notes, you've got to be at speed when you get to that part of the circuit.
Down towards Ravazza, which is the final 2 left-hand corners. There is a 100-metre board on the right-hand side. We may be able to see it as they come up towards it now. This is a very anti-alter. It's downhill on the right-hand side.
Well, there's the white line we can see as well.
Yes, so on the right-hand side, they go down here. Basically, to stop any dangerous comings together in the final section of the lap, anyone who's on the racing line after the 100-metre board in qualifying and practice must be at racing speed. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, as we saw some violations of that last year. Yeah, just on the right-hand side, that blue 100-metre board right there, that's the one. So actually, these drivers...
None of them on a flying lap just yet.
Yeah, but...
No, Tom, and that's the thing. They're all building up to start their best lap times, and then it's going to be go time.
Yeah, so we're just seeing the drivers going over the line. This is number 21. This is Santiago Ramos, who's gone over the line to begin his first time lap. He gets through Tamburello, smooth and sound. These are going to be the banker laps, aren't they? They're on the, what looks like a medium compound of tyre, actually. It's just one compound that they are using this weekend, as far as I know. But Santiago Ramos will just want to make sure he gets a bank lap in the case of any interventions to the session, i.e. red flags, if there's any drivers that have a moment. With there being 30 cars on track, there is a good chance that one driver will lose it. That will bring a halt to proceedings. Ramos then, the Mexican, going through Piratella, purple in sector 1, which is obvious because he was the first driver to go through that first sector. And then how does he get on through Ackerman and Riley? Well, the car is not bottoming them out, so it seems to be in good stead at this stage.
It's looking a bit
But it's
better
just
than
the
this
remainder
morning.
of the lap where... Go on there, Josh.
I was going to say, it looks better than this morning, doesn't it? When he was bouncing around over the curves, the front end was sliding as well. He couldn't get the grip.
Well, he's gone through a very anti-alter, nice as well, and he's heading downhill towards Ravazza corner. Well, we've not seen too many mistakes over the course of the day, certainly not the first part of it. That may well change during the course of this session. And he's heading through where, well, pretty much all the corners are widened in terms of the amount of tarmac you can use on the exit, like what Ramos has gone through there at turn 18. This is a time of 1:33.4, but we expect the times to come down. There's Martini Estenshon, second fastest, with 1:34.0. Tim Chunitz will be one of the drivers to look out for this weekend. The Red Bull junior driver racing for MP Motorsport. He is heading over, and this should be, in my opinion, a faster time than what Ramos has posted, and it is a faster time. 1:33.3 for him. Alessandro Giusti, part of the Williams setup, goes over to P3 with a 1:33.6. His teammate Bruno Delpino's gone 4 fastest, a tenth slower than what he's just produced. Nicholas Solov up to P3 in the Campos, and there we see the championship leader and twice a feature race winner Rafa Kamara in the Trident. What can he produce as he heads over the line? It's a 1:33.3 he needs to be at this stage, and he beats it by 4 tenths. The first driver into the 1:32s.
Much better lap time then, immediately getting this one started on the right call, which is what we kind of needed and expected really for it to come through. So we'll have an interesting run around. Let's just take a replay here, Tom. It was a little bit of heart-stopping moments, but all good in the end.
Yeah, this is Lawrence van Herpen who's going through Ravazza here. The second part of it has been catching a few drivers out over the course of today. Dipping a wheel into the gravel. He does very well actually. Just when you go through the gravel like that and the car looks out of control, the best thing to do is lift off the throttle every single time, just so that the car just rolls through, because you're not going to find any grip when you're on the grass. You just need to allow the car to roll through without any further problems. And Van Herpen doing the right thing by just easing off the throttle and just go again next time around. So the fastest time is Rafa Kamara with a 1:32.9, followed by Brando Badoa in the Prema with a 1:33.1. Then it's Tim Chunitz with a 1:33.3, and it's Noel Leon with a 1:33.3 as well. Noel Leon's only 0.02 of a second slower to what Chunitz had produced. It's Louis Sharp in 5th place, nicely done by him, followed by Santiago Ramos. Brad Benavides competing in his first Formula 3 race since 2022 in the AIX racing team. He's in 7th place, followed by Nicholas Solov in 8th. Noah Stromstead is 9th. It's Ugo Ogachuga, who crashed towards the end of the practice session this morning, is in 10th place. And it's the 2 MPs of Alessandro Giusti in 11th place and Bruno Del Pino, who provisionally sits on the first group pole for tomorrow's sprint race.
Times already then will be improving, as Tom keeps mentioning as well, because this track will grip up insanely fast. Do not think for one moment it's going to stand still. It's not that type of circuit, I'm afraid. Imola just delights in causing trouble. And this circuit, it does love a bit of it. We've seen over the years as well how close they can get together. Okay, new screen, the screen hopefully is ready. Just having a problem with the data, but I think it's all coming through correctly now. Yes, it is. It's ticking down. Lovely as well. So there we go, with our qualifying deltas now available. After people said that they didn't look the same, we've managed to fix the F3 screen. On board with track minutes then. Gusti as well. Cabrini as well. Yeah, off in first sector. Alessandro Gusti. It's 29.6, 32.5. He's not looking too bad down to 11th. Mario Boya. Okay, first sector, but lost a lot of time in that middle run. Medium compound and the soft compound, the entire temperatures here. Travelers just sliding all the way as they head down into the braking zone of Varacta 2. Doubled down, actually, Tom, and that's, yeah, ball to the lap. It was never going to work, that one.
No, it was losing time as the lap was out, so I think Tronas has done the right thing to head back in. Rather than wasting fuel, which you may need for later, because the cars are not allowed to refuel in the pit lane. They can only do that in the support paddock before the session begins. So the amount of fuel they are on is the amount of fuel they will have up to for the whole session. So they have to be careful they don't consume too much fuel during the course of this session. So the only drivers that have not posted representative lap times are those in the bottom two, which we'll come back to in a moment. Nicholas Solov, we're looking on a replay here, heading through Ravatsa. I think he's probably on one of those who's going to put a wheel in the gravel. Yep, it's an exactly the same thing as what Lawrence Van Herpen did, and he, in my opinion, did the wise thing, just come back into the pit lane. And Van Herpen's top lap time has been deleted for track limits at turn 18, which is no surprise. I don't think I'll be too fussed about that.
Those rumbles, Tom, again causing problems as well, just throwing the car up in the air. And the rumble strips are a good idea. They're not the sausage curb, but you know, they're launching cars up. And the cut back to the grass is so severe.
Like sharp teeth curves, aren't they? Those rumble strips, aren't they? Yeah, but we've seen them being a problem in the past in Formula 1 before, not to mention Qatar 2021, when Pierre Gasly went through there, picked up a puncher from running over those curves, and I think some will know what happened after that with Max Verstappen when he didn't slow down on the yellows, which did spark a little bit of debate in regards to whether his lap should have been deleted or not. But anyway, that's a totally different topic.
Bit on the calm side, wasn't it, really? So half the cars coming back in after the opening run on the medium compounds. Brand new shiny set going on. You get 4 sets of tyres across the weekend as well, with no mandatory pit stops involved. But already you only get 4 sets, so that could be, you know, having to take an extra set into the races and the feature races. It's going to be chaotic. It's a 18-lap race for the sprint on Saturday, but 22 laps come the Sunday. It's the first time this year that we're actually seeing big changes in F3 across the 2 races in terms of extra laps being progressed at circuits they know more information about.
We've mentioned about Brad Benavides coming back into the championship, and one driver who is back in the championship, he did 1 round last year, did James Headley, who I believe substituted for Matthias Sagasetta in Monaco last year. But this is in fact his 2nd round competing in this series for James Headley for the AIX racing team. Now Brad Benavides and James Headley have substituted him in place of Freddie Slater, who's got a busy schedule of his own anyway, and the Eurocup 3 runner-up of last year, Javier Segura, which came as a bit as a surprise, actually. I don't know if he ran out of funding or whatever, but either way, they're not in the cars for this weekend. Benavides and Headley are.
Yeah, and all 30 runners now are going to set a competitive time, because we've got at the bottom of the timing screen at the moment as well, Karen Vodden and Lawrence Van Hopen, who have not set times inside the 107% rule, so they're going to have to get that sorted quite quickly, with 16 minutes to go here in this session. F2 quali coming up straight after, and then straight into F1 practice 2, and then we're straight over to Indianapolis as well. It's a long day to get sorted as well. We've got Frecker and GP3 coming up as well. That's tomorrow. Mix of live and delayed races. You can watch them all on JBMotorsports 2 with Omi leading the coverage. He's got a busy weekend. He's also leading some of the F3 and F2 coverage as well. And he'll be with us tomorrow for the action as well. So, who's your pick for pole then? I'm going with Tim Cheminitz.
I think Rafa Kamara will sustain the consistency. He's been so strong, hasn't he? Every time we watch him over the course of a flying lap, even after he's done a cool-down lap, he just seems to find time anywhere and everywhere, doesn't he?
He's got more feel for the grip as the circuit, as you said earlier on, rubbering in time and time again. Kamara still got that edge with the Trident team. Van Moss leading the field in the Van Amersfoorts as they come over the line. And away we go again then. Down towards turn number 1. And then 2 and 3, which is Tamburello. Blue flags are out. Snap the DRS shut. Even with all the safety concerns. Joe, they actually considered redoing the chicane and bringing back the original Tamburello. That was, of course, changed after Senna's accident 31 years ago. But they decided against it, because it's not just the Formula 1 cars, it's also the other series that fly through. So Imola staying the same.
It would be nice if they put that oval back in for that part of the circuit, actually, wouldn't it?
Yes, it was dangerous, but with modern safety equipment, it wouldn't be dangerous anymore. It would be great, actually. There's no reason why we can't. We've now got safer barriers. We've got the Tech Pro and tyre barrier. And also, they can add the runoff area now. They don't have to, they built into the circuit, not out. That's one thing that the drivers never thought of. They said, oh, how can we extend this wall out? Not how can we bring the circuit in? Because the river's on the outside, it's not the inside. So they've brought it in. We could have the long sweep back. And then a chicane down at Villeneuve would still be all right for a Tosa braking zone.
God, it'd be a long way to go from Ravazza all the way to Tosa, or to the Villeneuve chicane, whatever. One
long DRS zone as well.
You wouldn't have it because it's not a braking zone, really, is it? Well, if you're going all the way to Tosa, it would be a braking zone, but it's the fact that you've got Villeneuve, which would be a high-speed chicane, really. Yeah.
Let's have a look then. So let's imagine it. So this is with coming across that with the 14 of Martin Steinshaw. Opens up the DRS. And imagine you just fly right through. Because look, it's possible to add the oval back in here. And now you're at the exit. DRS still open. And then heavy brakes if we can loosen up the chicane a little bit. Yeah, it's possible.
I reckon so.
Let's get some modders on. See if we keep Villeneuve and put it back through. We need R Factor 2, Assetto Corsa, any of the mods. Let's see what it looks like. Have you ever...
Get Grand Prix. Get Michael Crow's Grand Prix 2 to do that.
I love that one on Grand Prix 2. Let's get that one. Imola's, I don't know. I like Imola. It is one of my favourites on the calendar. I'm glad it came back. It's just old school Formula 1. All the best races seem to happen here as well. Steinshaw through Janti Halter. These are still the banker laps on the tyres that they've just put on, so they're not hot enough yet. Track minutes fastest middle sector, trying to prove me wrong with a 32.2. Here comes Stanshaw though, out of the last corner of Ravatsa. DRS will snap open now. He hasn't activated it actually, he's across the line. He's up to second, he's 19 thousandths down on Kamara's time. Track minutes goes up there with a 132.924. 15 thousandths. We've got a top three separated by 19 thousandths of a second right now. Here in F. Oh, we'll have a red flag for sure, and a red flag's out. Into the gravel for Tanasa Points. Is that his second crash of the day as well? Red flag.
Was it? Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, I don't know whether that was in for Povacek or whether that was one of the other Campos drivers. It's not Mary Boy, it's in for Povacek, yeah, I was right. So it was in for Povacek, who was in the gravel trap. That must be over at Ackerman O'Reilly, judging by the camera angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where is he on the tape? He's 22nd, isn't he? So there's a chance he's not going to be able to get a better lap time there, unfortunately, there for Taz.
Badoa got across the line 3 seconds before the red flag came out.
I'm stuck in the gravel. Copy.
Yeah, and Badoa has set the fastest time. When did that come out? At 23:49. At 23:55, the red flag came out. So, yeah, oh, he's just run wide. That's a silly mistake. That's a really silly mistake, and then it just bogs down. Yeah, sadly, nothing you can do. Yeah, as soon as you're on the exit curve, Tom, it's just in. Nothing you can do.
No. It's unfortunate for Povacek. You could have done with a brilliant qualifying session, but this man, Brando Badoa, right before the red flags came out, was able to improve his lap time and go to provisional pole. So the session stops then with the red flag, and the time stops for quali. So it's 11 minutes and 8 seconds to go, so they've definitely got time to get round and do a couple of prep laps before they do their flyers. But looking at the timing page, so it's Brando Badoa, then it's Rafa Kamara, Tim Trenitz, Martinia Stenshorn. Roman Belinsky has elevated himself up to 5th place, followed by Noel Leon. Lawrence Van Herpen in 7th place, followed by Callum Boyson, Ugo Oguchukwu, Louis Sharp, Santiago Ramos, and Brad Benavides would be on reverse grid pole for tomorrow's sprint race.
So with the red flag then, the cars coming back into the gravel trap, let's take the opportunity to hand down to the world feed.
It's still 11 minutes and 8 seconds on that clock, and they will be well aware of that because Rafa Kamara is in 2nd place, and he's only 15 thousandths of a second behind Piers, as you were pointing out to me. It's close.
If you like close racing, this is the place to be. Badoa is only a 100th or so quicker than Kamara, who's a further 200ths quicker than Tramnitz, who is 4 thousandths ahead of Stenshorn, who is then another 400ths ahead of Belinsky, and then who is only a 10th ahead of Leon. So the top 6 covered by about a 1/10.5 of a second. That is it. And it's so close. We've said that so many times. That's why we love it. And also, it's the fine margins that define the difference between a good driver and a potentially great driver in the future.
Lawrence Van Hoopen got that lap in just in time as well, as we're seeing Tasanopo Indra Puvazak's car retrieved. He got that lap in quite literally just in time. Why is that crucial? Well, he's not been in the points so far this season. Let's have a look at this once again.
Just a bit too much speed. We saw the bumps, the car bumping up and down the Campos number 11 of Indra Puvazak. Came through the corner, maybe carried just, 2 or 3 Ks faster than he did the previous lap, trying to push the speed, trying to get those last couple of tenths. Just a bit too much weight on the front tyres as he carried a bit more speed into there. Oversteer in the braking phase, caught it, but unfortunately that gave him a one-way ticket to the gravel trap, and the gravel traps are deep round here, as Alex Brundle, who was saying earlier on in the F2 commentary, said they're some of the deepest gravel traps he's ever seen. Although he did say he's not been in them.
I think he spoke from experience. Right now, Brad Benavides would be our pole sitter for the sprint race tomorrow on his return to Formula 3. What a result that would be, not just for him, but for the AIX racing team, who fell just short of the sprint race win. with Freddie Slater last time. However, look who he's got behind him. He's got Nicholas Solov, 5th in the championship. Noah Stromstead, who's been on the podium this season. Josh Dufek, who had that sprint race pole last time out. It's incredibly close. And we have fights this time. The news broke yesterday. This is now the fight for the Aramco Pole Position Award, which will be handed out at the end of the session. The driver who starts that feature race on pole receives that Aramco Pole Position Award. The session will resume in 90 seconds time. As we see the drivers ready to go, and I imagine they will all fire out in a row. The beautiful sight it always is when all 30 cars go out at the same time. It's going to be very busy out on track.
I think it will be, but I don't think necessarily it has to be, because with 11 minutes, assuming that these drivers all have another brand new set of tyres, 11 minutes, that's plenty of time for them to get an outlap, a couple of warm-up laps and a flying lap, with it being a 1 minute 30-second lap time. If you say that it's 2 warm-up laps after your outlap, that still gives you a couple of laps gap. So finding space, in theory, shouldn't be too difficult. In practice, always easier said than done, especially around an old school, slightly narrower circuit with blind crests that we have here in Imola. There's a number of blind crests. So if you have a car going slowly, trying to position itself, and you arrive on the scene at full racing speed, you can often see drivers getting blocked. And if you do block another driver, you're going to be expecting a penalty. But let's not hope. Let's hope that we don't have any of that. Currently, looking at the onboard camera of Roman Belinsky, he's had a very good weekend so far. Currently sits 5th in qualifying this morning. He was 6th, only half a second away from fastest Kamara, but was only a couple of hundredths away from 3rd place, as Kamara and Justi were basically ahead of the rest of the field. So he's had a good session so far. Rodin looking like they've definitely got good pace this season and this weekend again as well.
They do. 5 teams in the top 5 as well. 10 teams competing in this championship. There they go. One of the Van Amersfoorts just slightly slow away. Don't miss your place in the queue. Now Trident in the background. They did this last time, holding back Piers.
They did this at Bahrain, if I remember correctly. They just sat in the pits waiting for everyone else to go out. They were all jostling for position, trying to thought, you know what, clean air is our best chance. And hey, it worked for them both, actually both qualifying sessions. Yes. Of course, Kamara taking both poles this season. In the first round, he took it by nearly a 10th and a half, which in a closely packed field is an absolute chasm. And then in the second round, at Bahrain, he did it by even more, by just over a 10th and a half per second. And if it works once, then I'm assuming they're going to go for the same tactic again.
What's the thinking there? I mean, their placement in the pit lane for this race, they're towards the back. Is it, you know, let's just let the queue go out? We've got 3 very quick drivers. You know, the whole field is full of capable drivers, but is it a case of let's just get our own space? We're not going to delay each other anyway, and we'll play it that way? It's a tactic that's worked for them before. Is that, do you think, the thinking there?
All the team's placement in the pit lane is determined before. It's not just pitch up, you put your beach towel out in the pit lane.
Yes.
You have a specific place, and with Trident being somewhere in the back, there's no point following everyone else out, because you know for a fact that everyone's going to drive off, and then the final sector, you're going to see this shortly, I imagine, everyone's going to slow down. All the while you're slowing down and trying to find some clean air or a tow, your tyres are cooling down. Trident have decided, you know what, why don't we give ourselves 25, 30 seconds, then go, choose our place on circuit so that we can have as much clean air as we want, or give each other a tow, get the tyres in the absolute optimum working window, and then go out and hit it with no distractions as well, because that's another thing. If you come across a car, even if they're not on the racing line, on your flying lap, it can take your mind away from the job at hand and just be enough to cause a lock-up or push you out of position, as we see some more jockey position that I...
Yeah, and the side-by-side between the 20 and the 14 coming through, Tom, in that final sector, but Zagazita has been noted for an infringement under the red flag procedure.
It's probably going a little too quick for his own good, was Zagazita. He's currently sitting 25th. Whilst we see Rafa Kamara is just waiting for a gap in the traffic, I think, before he makes his move. He wants to be one of the last over the line on the best condition of tyre possible, doesn't he? That's
Sharp.
what he's thinking about. Team Radio Lewis
You
Sharp.
need to nail this. Come on, I know you can do it. Wait.
And after the session for Zagazita for that infringement now, Lou Sharp says he can do it. His engineer believes in him. Does he believe in himself? That's another question. matter you've got to think about now with this session as well. 132.894 is your time. Several drivers have decided to stay inside that pit lane. As you can see, Kamal, Vosin, Sean said, well, out of the session already is Tanas Points Zach, he won't complete. But Charlie Burns also has stayed inside. You can see why, loads of traffic. And the car's not filtered out. There's 30 of them to get round this Imola circuit, and it's not big enough for everyone. And we're going to see a couple of them running together. I would not be surprised if we get someone goes for it when someone's on a cool-down lap. We have a red flag.
That is the gamble of waiting until there's a gap in the traffic, because you know, if you sit in the garage and another red flag comes out, you've basically wasted that time in waiting for essentially the best conditions possible, when all the other riders have been out there setting green lap times compared to what you've done. Brother Kamala is second at the moment, gunning for another pole position, unless he's already picked up a well, he hasn't. I don't know if he's already picked up a pole position this season. If we look at Charlie Burt's, his car's been worked on by his crew before he makes his move out on circuit.
Revs up and away we go.
For the likes of Kamara and Burt's to head out.
So now we'll get that alternative run that you were talking about. Everyone's on their fast lap, but that means that when they start their fast, they're going to be waiting for a cool-down lap. So there's no right time to go here with such little remaining. We went red flag with 11 to go, which means we've already got 6 of that. And it's taken by build-up laps and cool laps as Ramos holds an inside line and continues to push early on. And he's up on Badoa's time by 1/10 of a second.
For Kamara has been on pole for both races so far, both feature races, so this would be a hat-trick if he could do it here. Santo Ramos, who currently sits in P11, going for his best qualifying. So he makes his way downhill towards Akaminerale. Where does he end up in sector 2? Is he going quicker than what Badoa has done earlier on before the red flag? We'll wait and see. The answer to that question is yes, and quite some margin, Josh.
He's 3/10 up, fastest middle sector, 32.1. Much better that time then, starting to come through here for the VAR squad. Down towards Ravazza. You'll be on the light on the brakes, not trying to lock up that front tyre. Shock off as little speed as possible. You can see the rear of the car wanting to step out mid-corner. On the exit, the rear really steps out of Ravazza too. Over the line, Ramos should go top, and Stancho behind him loses time. Ramos is half a second up. Stancho goes over the line. He lost that time, but Santiago Ramos on 132.442. He has provisional pole position. Here's Tim Traminitz now out of the last corner. Gravel will be on the exit line, so they'll be wary of that. Over the line. Up to second, 3/10 now the gap. Tuka Tappinen coming in, so Solov. And that's Del Pino. Bruno Del Pino goes up there as well into 3rd place.
Alessandro Giusi up to 5th in the other MP Motorsport car. Tuka Tappinen goes P2 in the ART. Maraboya up to 4th. The lap times are coming in thicker and faster now as the track picks up with less than 5 minutes to go. Now we're right above with Ugo Ugatruku. Can he make up for his mishap in practice earlier? Goes up to P3 for Kramer. So it's a VAR, ART, and in 1, 2, and 3. With Noel Leon in 4th place. We're seeing more drivers heading over the line. We're seeing improvements. Christian Ho up to 22nd place. Nicola Clark 15th. We're seeing Brad Benavides up to 10th place. Rowan Belinsky, who's shone so far in this session. Can he get back up the order? Goes up to P3 with a purple sector 3.
And Badoa's time, that was the top before the red flag, is now 4/10 off the pace of everybody else. Ramos leads by 91 thousandths to Tuka Tappinen. Then it's Louis Sharp, Roman Belinsky, and then coming in with Ugo Ukachuru in 5th position. So it's insane how close the field is. The top 22 cars separated by less than a second. That's basically the entire field of F2, isn't it? That's mad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mad, especially when there's more cars in the field to consider. Ramos has been absolutely brilliant so far this season. It's a sprint win already, but he hasn't actually scored points since then, but he's had some bad luck go his way. But this is a replay then of Martini Stenstrom getting wide onto the gravel and on the grass. The car lifting up as well, which won't do the floor too good. But he'll go around just to clean the tyres before he does his last attempt. He needs a better lap time here, does Stenson. Looking at where he is as we go back to live pictures. He's currently sitting in, where is he now? 15th, so he needs a better lap time. Yeah, that's Rafa Kamara coming through the traffic. I don't think it was on a lap anyway, but he's not wasting any time being stuck behind the traffic here. He needs to get on with it here, does Rafa.
Very sharp.
To improve.
Yes, P3, mate, P3. Mega job, mate. Bravo.
I don't think it's the end of the session. I haven't been counting down wrong. We've still got more times to come. It's P3 at the moment. Tapping in. Ugachuru and Leon all coming into the pit lane as Kamara enters Tamburello. Flicks the car in. The rear wants to step out. Expertly controlled, but it's fighting for control as he exits down towards Villeneuve. That was a lot of sliding. Won't be surprised that's cost him. Through Villeneuve. Rear steps in okay so far. Powers up towards the exit. Into Toza. Yeah, it's 49 down. That's all he's lost.
Yeah, well, he's lost that, but can he keep it up in the second sector? Remember, it was over 4 tenths. It's 4 tenths slower than what his the fastest lap time of Ramos is. So he'll want to try and keep going if he can. And if he doesn't find any time by the second sector, I'd maybe consider back out of it, because next time round will be his last chance.
Ironic that we've got the Villeneuve chicane, and Jacques Villeneuve is on the Sky F1 commentary team this weekend. Of course, his father, Gilles Villeneuve, is the namesake for that chicane. Look at that middle sector though, Tom. 2 tenths faster for Kamara. He really picked it up with a 31.8.
He did, didn't he, just? And now he's got the toe off the MP Motorsport car ahead. Can he make use of that going through the last part of the lap? Entering Ravazza now for the Brazilian Rafa Kamara, heading through the last proper corner of the circuit. There is a kink just before the line before he heads over. Rafa Kamara then, what can he do? Is it going to be a low 1:32? It's a 1:32.2, 2 tenths faster, but there are more times to come.
There is, and that is the benchmark that we all have to look through. Now we've got 32.2s, 32.3s, 32.5s, got a 29.7, which is fastest of all in the first sector from James Wharton at the moment, but nobody is setting the benchmarkers with 43 seconds to go, and I think we've had a spin for the 23. I can see flat spots on the side of the car for Callum Vosin, as we also now come in to see the top of Noah Stromstead into the second part of Ravazza. He's building up for his lap time.
Yeah, he's building up for his last chance here. So this could be where the best lap times are going to be at. 20 seconds to go as he heads over the line. There is a Downs behind him going over. So these are going to be the last attempts then. Stromstead starts his lap. He's 25th at the moment. Noah Stromstead 4th in the championship coming into this round. He needs a strong lap to be up there. You ideally want to be in the top 12 to be within a shot of a strong haul of points this weekend.
Rhea stepping out like crazy. They have to control it. They must remember the differentials that we're going to suffer. Now there's gravel at the exit of Villeneuve. And Stromsted's a 10th down. Checkered flags out. Tapping and Sharp, Belinsky, Ukachuru and Leon and Badoa. They're in the pit lane. As already was Taspel and Spirizat being in the gravel trap, so they won't improve. Oh, spinner! And off the circuit! Just avoiding it goes Lawrence Van Hopen at the top of Piratella down to Aqua Minerale. The yellow flags are out, so that'll spoil everybody's lap times. And just got loose at the top, and that's going to affect Charlie Wirtz, who was in there.
I think Wirtz had already gone past it, Josh, so he might actually be all right. But he is last at the moment, so he needs to try and get a time within the top 12 to be within of a good haul of points this weekend. Charlie Wirtz, twice a point scorer this season so far. What can he do with this lap as he takes the checker flag? Oh. It's only P28 for Charlie Wirtz.
What's gone wrong for Trident in that car? As up into third goes Noah Stromstead, but he has to have been involved in that yellow flag. I assume there will be post-race, post-qualifying lap time deletions coming, because they did go through that yellow flag zone. Kamara Boy has been noted for impeding in turn 6 as well. And that is our pole sitter noted for impeding. Rafael Kamara has pole 3 races running now, but is under investigation. But Trident have it again. 3 out of 3 in 2025 for Rafael Camara. Santiago Ramos second. Reverse grid pole. Is that going to be Tim Tremonitz or Mario Boyo?
It's going to be Bruno Del Pino, who's P12, Josh.
Yeah.
He's on reverse grid pole.
Couldn't remember in this because it used to be P11, and this year they've made it make more sense, which is moved it down to P12. Not really reverse grid. If I was in charge, I would put it as P15 to give it maximum reverse. But hey ho. So it's Bruno Del Pino who's gone on pole position for tomorrow morning's sprint race action. That's more like it.
And there's the trolling crew on home turf as well, celebrating. And there's Giacomo Ricci, one of the senior members of the squad. This is a replay of Lawrence van Herpen dipping a wheel into the gravel trap at Piratella, and he did very well not to beach it into the gravel trap. You just see Noah Stromstad going through. Was there a yellow flag though when he went through? That's the question that we want an answer for. And there goes Charlie Wirtz, who he got caught up in traffic. So it was nothing to do with Lawrence van. Oh yeah, that was. Oh my goodness me. That is far too dangerous. That's one of the AIX racing cars that got in the way, wasn't it?
That's right, Charlie. Oh, and then another spin. I knew Vossen had spun, and he's gone off at Villeneuve. And he was looking not to beach it into the gravel trap as well, so he's done really well to keep the speed going. That's a big loop around, actually, as well. So, yeah, reversing the top 12. 88.144 kilometres and 18 laps tomorrow at 9:05 a.m. British Summer Time, 10:05 local. That will be when we go racing for 18 laps of the sprint race. Yeah, Tom, what do you make of that one?
No, it was a nice qualifying. I enjoyed that.
That has been noted.
Let's go again. Bravo.
So we are 4?
Yes, Rafa, you are.
It was a good one.
Business.
It was a good one. It was a good one indeed. And now attention turns to qualifying, which is next up as well for Formula 2. Fingers crossed that's going to be an okay one. We don't want any delays to that. That comes under you in about 15 minutes' time. It wasn't a long red flag though, was it, to move into Bumazak? Oh, here's Kamara. Oh, this is just a glory run. Okay.
So with those 2 championship points, he extends his lead at the top. Does Rafa? So he's now on 58 points, and the nearest driver to him in second place is Tim Tremonitz on 30. So he has nearly twice as many points as the driver in second place.
Okay, let's hand over to the World Feed for the results.
Stromstad tapping in. Sharp and Belinsky. Great qualifying for Louis Sharp. We have seen him missing from that top 12. That's all that's been missing for him, really. Ugo Ugochukwu, likewise, up there in 7th. Prema have turned this round. They said they were going to do that, and they have done, with Noel Leon in 8th, and then Nicolas Solov, Mari Boyer, Tim Tremonitz, Bruno Del Pino. Good result for Prema. I think that's what they needed.
Yeah, you just mentioned there Santiago Ramos turned it around as well. He was absolutely nowhere in practice this morning. Didn't feature inside the top 19 positions, but managed to pull a lap out when he needed it. Second place for their VAR, so great result for him as well. He's clearly good at finding lap time around this Imola circuit. Second last year qualifying. First last year qualifying, second this year.
Callum Voisin, though, that's incredibly disappointing for him. 3rd in the championship, down in 22nd in that session. I mean, he's going to be very disappointed with that.
Yeah, no doubt he'll be disappointed. I think he had the pace today to be challenging for the top 10, probably the top 5, maybe even the top 3. Especially when you consider his teammates of Sharp and Belinsky are up in 5th and 6th. And Voisin was well up there in practice this morning. Voisin was actually 4th in practice this morning, and I think he was scheduled to go faster. But you know, you got to sometimes perform when it matters. And he was pushing on, and a small mistake got compounded, and he spun round. And it's going to be a long weekend for him now. We've seen it's difficult to make up lots of positions around this Imola circuit in Formula 3. It can be done. DRS down towards turn 2 at Tamburello. Inside or outside can be done, but once you're in the DRS train, unless you've got a pretty big time delta to the drivers ahead, it can be tricky. But he'll have to go home, back to the hotel, reset, come back tomorrow with a positive mindset and see if he can salvage any points if he wants to keep anywhere in that championship fight.
I think a lot of those fans thought that Frando Badaware was going to challenge for pole there, possibly even take it. And I really thought he was going to. 15th though, I don't know what happened on the last few laps. Maybe the last flying lap didn't quite go to plan, but some encouragement can be taken. But when you look at the gaps, there was barely anything in it between the likes of 12th and 20th. You were talking a few tenths, a couple of tenths of a second.
Yeah, well, even if you look from seconds down through 17th is half a second. That's absolutely no time. Kamara clear at the front of the field once again, but the rest of the field packed close together. It's going to be an exciting weekend of racing, that's for sure. Cars all close together, and hopefully some very good racing action.
Let's go through the top 12 for you, shall we? We've been talking a lot about positions. Let's fill you in with where we are in terms of those top 12 positions which we reversed for the sprint race. Rafa Kamara, third pole position. Santiago Ramos in second. Noah Stromstead in third place. Great performance from him on that last lap as well, which was so crucial.
The last lap was always crucial. You mentioned with Badaware, he was up there with about 5 minutes to go and then down at 15. That last lap is always the one. It's the track's ramping up, the Pirelli rubber going down. The drivers are getting more and more in tune. The teams are making tweaks to the car. And it's almost always the case that the fastest lap in qualifying is set right at the end of the session. And if you don't nail that lap, then you're going to be left wanting.
It really does. Congratulations to Rafa Kamara, to Trident. And what a thrilling qualifying session it was to get our weekend well and truly started. And at the front, it was a familiar story. Rafa Kamara, 3 qualifying sessions in 2025, 3 pole positions for the Brazilian driver. Santiago Ramos on the front row again here at Imola in Formula 3. Noah Stromstead in third. Tuukka Tappinen did very well there in fourth. Louis Sharp in 5th place, and then we had Roman Belinsky. Tramnitz, Del Pino rounding out the top 12, then Giusti, Benavides, Badaware, Stenshorn, Van Hoopen, Lacorte, Dufek, Wharton, 20th. Decent performance for him, given he did absolutely no laps in practice, playing catch up a little bit. Niall, Voisin, James Headley in his first practice qualifying in this car. Dominguez, Ho, Zagazeta, G, Bertz, Marinangeli. Tisana Poinja-Puvazak had a crash coming down towards Aqua Minerale going into the gravel. And that is all for qualifying. The grid is set.
Well, my thanks to Tom, my thanks to everyone at home as well. Next up, it's time for Formula 2's action of qualifying. See you soon.